Hello, everybody. My name is Nasir. I'm an AWS Partner Solutions Architect at Databricks. Welcome to this really quick session on ML Flow and Amazon SageMaker. We got lots to unpack here today, so let's get going. So as you can see, Databricks sits in the heart of AWS ecosystem, right? It's really well connected to all of its services. So today we are exclusively going to talk about ML Flow and Amazon SageMaker. So this is your standard machine learning lifecycle, right? You prep the data, you build a model, and you go ahead and deploy it, right? What could go wrong with it? But before you get to that production grade model, you need to run your experiments. You need to run sometimes 100, sometimes 1,000 experiments before you get to that production grade model, right? For each of those experiments, you need to keep track of your input data, your infrastructure, your GPU settings, everything. It's really hard if you want to scale this process, right? So doing it manually just doesn't fly. Right, so that's where ML Ops and ML Flow comes in really handy. It kind of acts as a perfect quarterback for a machine learning journey. Right, and this slide kind of further emphasizes the need of ML Flow and ML Ops because the goal of machine learning is different than traditional software development, right? As you can see, so the goal of machine learning is primarily to optimize a metric and accuracy, right? Constantly experiment to improve it, right? But whereas the software development process would definitely not fly for a machine learning project. Right. So what is ML Flow? ML Flow is a flagship machine learning product. It is an open machine learning platform which works really well with all modern and popular machine learning frameworks and libraries. It runs the same way everywhere on cloud, locally. It's designed to be useful for 1,000 plus people. It's simple, modular, easy to use, right? And it offers a great positive developer experience, okay? And it works with, I mean, it's made up of 5 of these components: MLflow tracking, projects, models, model registry, and model serving, a newest offering. Right, so MLflow tracking kind of acts as your quarterback while you're setting up your experiments and you're tracking to track all your code, data, config results, everything. Right, so once you so that you can compare and contrast your experiments, and you can make decision upon which model you want to build and which one you want to deploy. Right, so MLflow models gets you that models, generates you that standard format for deployment paths for a machine learning model, and then MLflow projects kind of packages all of this together in a simple, lightweight manner. Right, so whenever you generate a model using Databricks MLflow, you generate a native flavor as well as a Python flavor, right? Just because you might want to deploy it in an environment that doesn't support your native flavor, right? In that way, you save tons of time from a development perspective if you had a Python flavor automatically built in, and that's what Databricks MLflow offers, right? And model registry is kind of a catalog for all of your models, and it helps you search and it helps you lifecycle manage all your models. It kind of acts as your catalog for machine learning models for small as well as large scale enterprises. And model serving is our newest offering. It allows you to do real-time serving of a model what you've developed. But today we're exclusively going to talk about SageMaker for real-time serving. Okay, so that's about it. I've already built 2 models, GLM and a GBT model called generalized linear regression model, as well as a boosted tree using Spark ML lib framework. And I've already ran a couple of runs, run a couple of experiments, and I already know that I want to just deploy the GLM model. But how did I come to that conclusion? Is by monitoring the experiments and knowing which parameter works best and whatnot, right? So I've already ran and done the partial life cycle of the machine learning already. So in this section here, you see machine learning. So all you have to do is call MLflow set experiment, give the path, and it automatically tracks your experiments, right? And starts logging parameters and metrics once you call log param, right? And you can see that in your location, which you mentioned here in the notebook. So if you go here, you can see, hey, this is the various runs of the experiment, and you can compare and contrast each of those runs, right? And let's say, like I mentioned, I've already decided to use GLM model for my production. So the metric that made me the decision was the AUC in this case. Okay, so this looks good. And if you further get into the run, after you log the model, after you set the experiment and log the model, you can see MLflow projects in action. You can see them with two different flavors of the model, your Python flavor of the model, as well as your native flavor, in this case, Spark ML. And other artifacts and dependencies all tracked really, really well from a packaging perspective. This is your ML model and ML for projects in action, right? So the next thing is your model registry. So how do you get to that is just click here, and this is your registered models. As you can see, we've got tons of models here, and we want to get to our AWS model, which we registered, right? In this case, the reinvent model, and it already has multiple versions and in different stages, right? So if I want to transition this version 2 to production, all I have to do is just do it this way, right? And it'll ask you to even comment or annotate things. You can put up your entire wiki if you want, right? Say pushing to production, right? So, and it'll ask for an approval process as well, right? So, and it'll quickly come in. And once you approve, you can have somebody else review and then do it as well. So it acts as a perfect lifecycle management tool for your machine learning projects exclusively, right? So you can search, you can find all the versions of the model, registered in your enterprise, and see who's doing what and what do you need what model for and whatnot. So once your model is in production, all you have to do is call the container image for SageMaker. And how do you build this container image is by calling a single line of command called MLflow SageMaker build and push container, and it will push that image to ECR, and you can just refer that back here into the notebook, and then call a single line of command to deploy your production model which you build to SageMaker. That's about it. And once you do that, the model, the endpoint is built in SageMaker and it's ready to serve. In this case, it's already in service. And then you can test that with a quick line of command by supplying input and doing checking for real-time serving whether it's active or not, right? In this case, it's already on. As you can see, it's giving results back, and you can check that in SageMaker as well. So that's about it. That's how you pretty much use MLflow components and SageMaker.